joining us on the Nature Bats Last channel. We are here in New Zealand, hosted by Chris and Lee Kirk and Kevin Hester, who will be hosting us for much of our stay here. And of course, you know Pauline Schneider and me, Guy McPherson. So thank you for joining us. We're here today to talk about something that I think it was my latest video or the one before. Yes, it was the one before, released on this channel, indicating that there are great benefits to be found by spending time in nature and also by spending time with friends. So here we are, spending time with friends in beautiful New Zealand, where you can't leave your house without being immersed in nature. So this is a wonderful place to spend our time. We're here shooting today when we were scheduled to be on a ferry because nature had other plans, and as we all know, nature bats last. So, a little bit of an introduction. I want to provide a couple of quotes by Kurt Vonnegut, who repeatedly quoted his son Mark, who received a degree from the University of Harvard in the United States as I believe as a medical doctor. And Kurt Vonnegut would quote his son as saying, "We are here to help each other through this, whatever this is." Then Kurt Vonnegut would immediately quote his uncle, whose name I can't recall, as saying, "We are here to fart around, and don't let anybody tell you any different." And I don't think those two are inconsistent with each other. We are here to help each other through this, whatever this is, and that's why we're spending time with friends. And we are also here to fart around, and don't let anybody tell you any different. And that includes us as well. We've been doing some serious farting around on this excursion. So Pauline,
Yes,
do you want to comment?
Yes, we have enjoyed farting around with Chris and Lee and Kevin tremendously on this journey. We've been here a little over a week, and it's just remarkable the amount of nature that you can find here everywhere you turn, and the sweet people that we have been running into, who random people will walk up to us and say, "Are you Guy McPherson? I changed my life because of your message. Thank you." I tell you, that's like the most incredible thing. That's like
They almost
such a
always
great
say that to
reinforcement.
me, not to you.
No, they
Just
haven't
to
said
be
that
clear.
to me. Sometimes I look like you if I put my glasses on.
We bumped into a fascinating young lady at a petrol station yesterday. I filled up the tank with gas and the credit card went into the machine out on the forecourt, and I went inside to buy ice creams for you-know-who. And there was this fascinating person serving at the counter who Guy and I guess was about 11 years old, operating the till, no adult in sight. And I was buying these ice creams and I thought, this seems a bit unfair. And I said to this young chick, "Can I buy you an ice cream?" And without batting an eyelid, she looked at me and said, "Perhaps another time." Welcome to the New Zealand gas stations.
That's amazing.
And here at home, we've been doing basic things, really, just all about food and long, lazy lunches. Pauline's on bread duty this morning.
Oh, yes. Chris and Lee have taught me how to make ciabatta, so I'm very excited to try out the ciabatta.
It's very therapeutic,
Oh
isn't
my
it?
goodness, it's lovely.
It's been great for me as well.
We've just finished brunch. It was about 2 hours long.
Oh my
And we'll have
goodness.
to hurry up and finish this so we can eat dinner.
Long, lazy afternoon, evening.
I think we have a dinner to go to.
Yeah.
Chris, did you have a comment for us?
I haven't caught you peeing off the deck yet,
And then
No,
you're not a real
but
Kiwi until you
that's
do that.
but that's what I do.
That's great. You haven't caught me yet? So I look like
Well, I
a
wasn't looking,
I look like a civilized human being.
but we know you're not.
Right. Well, don't tell them.
Yeah, peeing off the deck is a male's luxury. It's a little harder for us gals to
Well,
do that.
but you did admit you pee in a bucket.
I definitely pee in a
Yeah.
bucket. Absolutely.
Let's lift the tone of this conversation a little bit, you fucking
I
people.
used,
Purely for the vegetable garden, right?
Yes. Oh, it's a sacrifice we have to make, you know. Peeing off the deck, peeing in the bucket. It's all part of nature.
I think Kevin seriously wants to change the conversation. What'd you have in mind there, Kevin?
We were in a cafe a couple of days ago, and a woman walked up to that bloke over there and said, "You're Guy McPherson." And she wasn't asking a question, she was making a statement. And then she said, "I interviewed you," and her name was Rachel Stewart.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And she had been working with the New Zealand Herald and had quit and gone farming because of what Guy said. And classically she said, "Oh, all of the stuff you said was going to happen, it's happening." And she looked pretty disappointed that Guy was right. And we are all collectively disappointed that Guy's synopsis is turning out to be right.
Yes, but it's. I think the message is something that I think Lee mentioned a little earlier today. This hamster wheel that most people are still on, you need to get off it now. Get
or
off
at
the
least
hamster
adjust.
wheel and start
Unless
to
you
live
love
your
the
life.
hamster wheel.
Unless you love the
Yeah.
hamster wheel.
If you're the wheel, you think this is the best thing going.
Right.
You get lubed every now and then. You get to keep moving.
And there also is the case of the multitude of people who are on the hamster wheel are enslaved.
That's true.
And Guy uses an expression, quote, "born into captivity." And we understand it sounds really grandiose for us to say get off the hamster wheel, but just make the most of every minute you can. And that's why we're here, why we're doing what we're doing with people we love.
Yep. Well, you had a message today from somebody.
Yeah, just literally 5 minutes before we came out to film. A good friend from years ago who had mentioned that he'd been bullied at work. And I said, "Well, why are you still there?" And he said, "I don't know." I was like, "Give up. Why don't you release your pension? You're at the age where you can release your private pension." And he thought, "Oh." And he did. He threw the towel in his job. The next day he texted to say, "I'm off to the UK to visit family." He's there for 5 or 6 weeks. He's just got home and he said, "Hey, I've released my pension. I've got a new job. I've taken back control. I'm now part-time." I mean, he has no awareness of what's ahead, but he took back control to make life easier for him, and so I'm glad I was able to push him and nudge him.
Right.
So, and that just literally 5 minutes before we had this conversation.
And that's great. This is something we've been saying for a long time, within the bounds of integrity. Do what you want. Do it well. Do what you love. Do it well.
And do it all the time.
I have a friend that did the same thing. Oksana was an economist, and the last time I spoke to her, she said, "I took your advice and I quit." It's so reassuring, and it gives us the feedback about why we do this, that when people say such things. A guy bumped into me in the street in Auckland not too long ago, and he said, "You're the bloke that brought Guy McPherson here to New Zealand, aren't you?" And I said, "Yeah." And he said, "I took your advice. I quit. Changed my life. Thank you very much." Great feedback.
So, it's nice to hear that now and then, and I think that's probably about enough. Thanks to Chris, Lee, Kevin, and Pauline, and we'll see you next time on the Nature Bats Last YouTube channel.